A warm welcome to all my students of class 9. Hello dear children. I am back again with yet another story based on emotions and life. The last lesson, the last leaf, also dealt with human emotions, right? Okay, so our author Zan Gaudioso is a contributing author and editor of several volumes of best-selling Chicken Soup for the Soul series. Have you all ever read any of the series? If not, you should, as it deals with everyday issues and covers amazing stories dealing from friends to family, happiness, sorrow, hope, and society as a whole. So do try to get hold of this book called Chicken Soup for the Soul, Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul, etc. Anyways, let's come back to the author. So Zan is also the co-author of the award-winning book The Buddha Next Door. Zan is currently working on a documentary about happiness while also writing a weekly blog on the same subject. She is exploring what constitutes happiness in a time of change. A house is not a home. This story reflects the challenges of being a teenager and the problems growing up. The narrator in this story is a teenager who goes to a new school and faces adjustment problem. He misses his old school teachers and friends. One day, his house catches fire and he feels even more lost and lonely. He is deeply saddened by the loss of his new pet cat. But when his new schoolmates show their concern for him, his whole version of life changes and he starts taking interest in life. All of us love our home. The happiness and warmth it provides makes us happy. But when a serious incident happens, it throws everything out of order and we end up dejected. The story here conveys to us that a happy home is very essential for each one of us. Also, it stresses on the fact that we should not grieve our material loss. Instead, we should be courageous enough to face and overcome all these challenges we have in life. Helping others and being grateful are the two values one should acquire. Now let me narrate the story for you. So this story relates to the experience of a young teenager who joins a new school. All his friends have gone to different schools and he feels very isolated among the new teachers and students. He often visits his teachers of his old school and they encourage him to participate in the activities of his new school. They assure him that in time he will grow to love his school. One Sunday afternoon, he is seen seated on his dining table doing his homework. Being a cold day, they have kept themselves warm by lighting up a fire in the fireplace. His cat Tabby is lying on top of his school papers. We are told that he had rescued the cat when it was a kitten, and since then they have shared a close bond. His mother kept stoking the fire to keep the house warm and nice. Suddenly, he smelt something strange, so he looked up and saw smoke pouring in through the seams of the ceiling. The room was quickly filled with smoke, and he and his mother had to run out of the house immediately. The fire started engulfing the roof of the house. He quickly ran towards the neighbor's house so he could call the fire department, while his mother ran back into the house. The mother then returned with a metal box that had all the important documents. but she threw the box and quickly went back to the house again. The boy was so scared and wanted to run after her when suddenly he was stopped by the fireman. He knew that his mother had returned back to the burning house to collect picture and letter of his father, since he had died when he was a little boy, and those were the only source of his memory that she had of him. By this time, the street was filled with trucks. The police told him that other firemen had gone to rescue her and that she would be fine. She finally came out with a blanket wrapped around her. She was then made to sit in the car. He felt so relieved seeing her and ran to hug her. It took 5 hours to douse the fire, and the house appeared almost completely destroyed. He then remembered Tabby, his cat, and realized that it was nowhere to be seen. He became overwhelmed by the feeling of loss of his old school, old friends, old teachers, home, and now his cat. Although he wanted to stay back, the fireman announced that it was not safe to go back to the house, and so with the clothes they were wearing and the blankets given by the firemen, he and his mother headed towards his grandparents' house to spend the night. The next day, his mother forced him to attend school. He, however, was reluctant as he was wearing the same outfit he had worn the day before, and he felt embarrassed. Plus, he had to borrow his aunt's tennis shoes. He had lost his books and backpack in the fire and felt self-conscious because he knew that instead of blending in, this incident was causing him to stick out like a sore thumb. At school, he felt lonely and out of place. He went back to his house and was pained to see that the only documents left were the ones his mother had managed to rescue. Once again, he longed for his cat. However, there was no time for grief, as he knew that he needed to find a new house and buy new clothes. The boy visited his old house in the hope of finding his cat, as he missed him terribly and remembered his days spent with it. The next day at school, he figured that everyone had come to know of his house and the fire. He felt embarrassed by the attention other students were giving him. The students gathered around him and asked him to head towards the gym. He found it strange, but upon reaching the gym, he saw a table set up with school supplies, notebooks and clothes, and was told that they were all a token of love from his new schoolmates. Strangers introduced themselves and even invited him over to their house. This heartfelt gesture touched his heart, and he finally felt hopeful about his situation. He actually made new friends. A month later, he was at the site of his old house with 2 of his friends watching the new house being built. It was while watching this that he realized that just like the house, his life too was being rebuilt. At that moment, a woman came holding his lost cat Tabby. He jumped with joy and took the cat into his arms. He learned that the cat had been so scared by the fire that it ran over a mile. Although the cat's collar had the owner's phone number on it, the finder could not contact them as the phone had been destroyed in the fire. The kind woman took the cat in and also made the effort to locate its original owner. Now, when he sat down with his friends and reflected on everything that had happened, he realized that the feeling of loss and tragedy that he had been struggling with actually had started to diminish. Instead, he felt an immense sense of gratitude for all the blessings he had received in his life, his new friends, a stranger's kindness, and the purrs of the cat. He in fact felt that just like his cat, he had also found his way back. And with this we come to the end of the story, which highlights on the importance of keeping an open mind and not being depressed by problems and challenges that are a part and parcel of our lives. We should always remember that behind every dark clouds there is a silver lining. So take care and stay safe.